So today's order of business, season review and transfer window for Season 2. Quick disclaimer, if you haven't watched Season 1 of Let's Go Villa, I would recommend you go back and watch it now. Or at least go back and watch the finale, effectively. It's a pretty epic finale. It's up in the corner here somewhere. I'd give that a watch before you give this episode a watch. But then immediately after you've watched it, come back and watch this one. Because hopefully we're going to spend a lot of money. Hello there and welcome to episode 7 of Let's Go Villa. I'm Stu, thank you for joining me in today's video where we're going to do the season review of Season 1 and get into the nitty gritty of the transfer window for Season 2. If that sounds like a good plan to you, please do leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss any lovely FN content from yours truly. If you did watch the last episode, again, last chance, I'd go back and watch it. Don't look at the main screen, keep looking at the camera. Look at me, not the main screen, because that'll be a spoiler. Right, I'm going to assume everyone's watched it. We had a very good season. We won the FA Cup! I'm still baffled by the fact that we won the FA Cup. I'm not entirely sure how we did it, but we did. It's one of those things. It feels unrealistic. However, consider that Aston Villa in my lifetime have reached the FA Cup final a couple of times, 2 or 3 times in my lifetime. In my lifetime, they've won the Carabao Cup twice under different names, obviously, and they've reached the final a couple of times as well. So it's not out of the realms of possibility for teams to reach finals like that. And then there's teams like Swansea's, Wigan's, Birmingham City, teams like that, Leicester, of course, who've won trophies like the League Cup and FA Cup. So it isn't out of the realm of possibility that we could do this, and we do have a very good squad. So I'm delighted that we've managed to get what I consider to be very close to the full potential out of this squad. But let's get into it and analyse it. So, first of all, starting with transfers. There's going to be a lot on this screen, because it's going to count this season's real-life transfers and last season's real-life transfers, along with any that we've made. So, I'm going to try and ignore a lot of those and just look at the players that we signed. There wasn't many of them, there's only a couple. But I do think we made some good deals. Sander Berge, he's been judged as being the signing of the season. I would agree with that. Signed him in January, 14 appearances in total. Didn't get a goal or an assist. Didn't necessarily get the best rating. But did a heck of a job in that midfield. Just an absolute brick wall in there. And we got him on a lower wage. We managed to get him at a decent fee, considering his ability as well. I think it's a very good signing. We also signed Jeremy Berger. 1 goal. You remember what goal it is? You'll know it was a big one. Didn't perform very well at all, but that 1 goal, worth its weight in goals. Technically, Ashley Young was a signing for us as well. He is leaving in the summer, but that was a glitch in the game. He should have already been here. Go PARMA was exceptional, and I would love to bring him back. 4 goals and 5 assists in 18 appearances. Did a very good job for us. I would be very interested in hanging on to him. And that was the extent of our transfers, really. There is one that isn't on here, which I'm a little bit confused why he's not on here, but to be fair, we barely used him. That's Brian Gill. We did kind of beat him off after half a season. He didn't really do much to us. In terms of transfers out, we did let El Ghazi go. Looks like he's had a lovely time. Again, Jack Grealish was already gone, obviously, but he had a great season in this game compared to real life. We let Marvellous Nakamba go halfway through the season. Looks like he's done all right for himself. Who else did we let go? Because, again, a lot of these players are players that technically we didn't let go and technically went the season before. Freddie Gilbert we let go, actually. Went to Lyon, did a decent job there. And we won't talk about Carney Schumacher. Won't talk about him. Morgan Sanson we let go as well. Didn't really have a great time, let's be honest with you. Didn't look good at all. But yeah, transfer-wise, I think we did some fantastic business with the limited business that we did. In terms of results this season, well, we start with the FA Cup. A+, you wouldn't be surprised at that. That is exceptional. I'm still staggered. And you look at the teams that we beat. Had a relatively easy start to things with Middlesbrough and Bradford, in particular Bradford. West Ham, remember, before that West Ham game, they had beaten us. So there was pressure on us to perform. We did. And then look at those last 3 games. Yes, Chelsea had a poor season, but it is still Chelsea Football Club. We did batter them 3-1. We then scraped through against Manchester United. 3-1 is very, very generous on us. It was a much closer game than that, as you guys saw. And then the final was just utterly ridiculous. Fantastic. Ollie Watkins, our top goal scorer with 5 goals. Carabao Cup, we did well as well. We got to the quarterfinals. That's more than what the board wanted. We did very well there. But as you can see, went through against Preston. We then beat Manchester United in that as well. So we've got a positive record against them in the cup competitions. Got through against Ipswich, but Leicester proved to be our undoing. Only on penalties, though. And again, top goal scorer with 5 goals. This time it's Danny Ings, but the same amount as in the FA Cup. And in the Premier League, well, Third place. And I know I keep going back to it, but if you watched me on Twitch for FM21, right at the very end of FM21, I was playing with Aston Villa. In our first season in that save, we finished in the top 4. And the following season, we won the FA Cup. No, we didn't win the FA Cup. We won the Champions League. Ruin my own point then. We did win the Champions League in Season 2. I am not expecting us to do that. I'm just putting it out there that we did. And I've linked it before, I think, but I'm going to put it up there so you can watch that video because it is a good watch to watch that FA Cup final. I've got the FA Cup on the brain. It is a good watch to watch that Champions League final. So go and give that a watch. It is good fun. But we had a very, very good season. The reason why we're in this position, I think, is because of this stretch at the beginning. One draw in that bunch of games, the rest of them all wins. And then we did have a bit of a wobble as we went through the season, and it was very win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, draw, win, draw, win, draw. We settled into the season, but we have done very well. Now, consider this. Manchester United, Leicester, Chelsea. 3 teams you would expect to be doing better than us. Newcastle are one of them as well, so technically 4. Arsenal you'd expect to do better than us. Tottenham you'd expect to do better than us. All these teams who have underperformed. If they perform better, they all go ahead of us. We'd be around 6th or 7th. We've capitalised mainly on Manchester United, Leicester and Chelsea having awful seasons. Again, you can count Newcastle as well. That's not including the fact that Arsenal and Tottenham have obviously underperformed. Leeds United, by the way, Champions League club, which is utterly ridiculous. But again, fantastic season overall. Danny Ings, top goal scorer. Lovely, lovely stuff. Moments to remember. Battered Brighton 5-0. I barely remember it, I've got to be honest with you, but we did do it. Cash Ings, Douglas Luiz, Tyrone Mings and Buendia scoring the goals. Then we beat West Ham United 5-1 right at the beginning of the season, so it's interesting. We actually started really well against them, and then we struggled when we played them in the league the next time round. But Danny Ings, that's the first game of the season, I think, because I remember those 4 goals. It was incredible. And then the goal of the season, I mean, I'm not going to show it because it was in one of the episodes. In fact, it was episode 5, I think, in the FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea. It was in the first minute, an absolute thunderbolt by Douglas Luiz. I do sometimes disagree with goals of the season in this game. I don't disagree on this occasion. This screen is completely irrelevant because it's all of the new season, but if you want to know any of it, there it is. We haven't grown our reputation, which is a bit of a surprise. I would have expected it to go to 4-star, but hey-ho. But there's all the money that we've made. That's obviously going to be something we'll look at next season and see how we've done. But the top shirt sellers, Coutinho, obviously, Watkins, Bailly, Konsa, and Ings. Interesting to see Konsa's on there and not Mings. Ings is on there. Don't know if I said Mings by accident, but Ings is on there, not Mings. Konsa's on there, not Mings. Very surprised by that. Very surprised indeed, but it's no surprise Coutinho is the top shirt seller. Interesting to see that the system of the season is the 4-2-3-1, not the diamonds. We did change through systems during the season. The diamond was doing very well for us, but I don't really want to use a diamond. I mean, it works, but I prefer using wingers. I just think it gives you more options out wide and it gives you a bit more cover as well. So it's interesting to see that the game agrees that this is the better system. Interesting to see as well that Jeremy Boga is the guy who is on that wing there, and it is not Leon Bailey. I would have expected Bailey to be there. Buendia's in the middle as well. Cole Palmer makes it in after only having half a season, so it's very interesting. So it's Martinez, Cash, Konsa, Carlos Digne, no Tyrone Mings. Again, very interesting. Coutinho and Luiz in the midfield. Very attacking-minded midfield, it has to be said. Palmer, Buendia in the middle and Boga, with Ollie Watkins getting the space instead of Danny Ings. Very interesting. In terms of accolades, I won nothing. Sad. Although I've got 20 caps for England. Alright, cool. The fans player of the season is Ezri Konsa. He's also the young player of the season at 24 years old. It's probably the last season he'll be able to go for that one. Signing of the season, Sandra Burge. I'd agree with that. I'd say Cole Palmer is a very close second, although it is a loan, so I don't know whether that doesn't count. Goal of the season, we already know, is Douglas Luiz. Top goal scorer in all competitions was Danny Ings with 25. Lucas Digne was the assist machine. Most player of the match awards was Danny Ings. Highest average rating was Ezri Konsa. Only a 7.3, but we did start to lose games towards the end, so I can understand that a little bit. And the best pass completion per 90 minutes was Boubacar Kamara with 78 in 90. Record breakers, doesn't really matter if we're being completely honest with you, because they're all set this season. None of them are actually real. Like, for example, our youngest goal scorer is not Cole Palmer. It's just not. But if the save, it is. Total competition awards, none. And then just history to making. FA Cup in the middle. The win against Chelsea, which really got us on the track to that, and then a nice little quote there. All looks lovely. Very happy with that season. I don't really know how we're going to top it next year. I suggest we aim to match it. Maybe not the FA Cup, but we aim to match that 3rd place, because we've got a squad that can definitely do that, I think. We've shown it this year. So the aim is going to be trying to at least get back to this level. I think it's going to be very difficult, because I imagine Arsenal, Spurs, United, Chelsea, Leicester, maybe not Leicester necessarily, but they're all going to invest this season. Leeds United, I think, will fall away. West Ham United, I think, will fall away, but all of the bigger clubs who you'd expect to be doing better, I think, will do better. Club vision and expectation. Let's just negotiate it and have a look at what they want. So, I think all of this stuff is very similar. High-tempo pressing football, we do anyway. So, they've added that in. I'm okay with that. They still want us to sign players to sell for profit. They still want us to work within the wage budget. And they also want minimum 4-year contracts. I mean, I'm okay with that. I've got no problem with that at all. End of the next season is when our contract expires, so we do need to do pretty well. In terms of the objectives, these will be agreed later. As you can see, they're both easy. Top half, it's what we wanted to do this season. In group stage, we're already there, so that's absolutely fine. We'll accept all of that. I think that's all absolutely fine. Boom, done, happy. Squad dynamics, everything's excellent. The 3 team leaders are there. We're losing one of them. I don't foresee we're going to sell Tyro Mings or Emi Martinez, but we do need to bear that in mind, that one of these guys are going to leave. So I'd look to hear and see who might step up. I do think someone like John Mcginn might step up, which could be a problem. I'll talk you through my transfer feelings in a moment. We'll do that in a moment. In terms of team report, we don't need to look at that. Injury report, fine. Don't really need to look at that. Training camp destination, let's have a look at that. Where do you want to send everyone? Egypt is a random one. I mean, I kind of like it, but we're going to go to Holland, actually. Let's go there. I think that sounds like the best plan. And then let's have our team meeting and let's talk about what we want to do next season. Obviously, the game wants us to do top half, so we're going to say that one, even though I would probably say Europa League, just to be careful. And let's say we want to make the Champions League proper, I think is what we want to... Yeah, it was that one. All right, cool. Well, that's what it said, so I'll raise my hands. There we go. Rectified that. And then we'll say that one as well. Say that one again. Okay, well, we rectified that. That could have gone wrong, but it didn't. Right. What's the plan for this transfer window? I suppose that is the question now. Bogger's happy because we played him in the position he wanted to play. Facility's been downgraded. We're going to request an improvement. We've got the money at the moment, so we should be able to do that. In fact, that's something we are going to do. Let's go to finances. We've got 18 million in the bank. While we've got that money, let's try and do as much of this as possible, because we want to make sure... I mean, improve youth recruitment. Do I want to do anything else as well? I mean, I'd like to expand the stadium, but that feels like something a little bit further down the line. We'll go improve youth recruitment as well. We've got the money in the bank. We might as well try and use it while we can. In terms of transfers, although we've got a transfer budget over 30 million, because we've only got 18 million in the bank at the moment, Watkins has to discuss future. That's a bit of a concern. Right. Wants an improved contract. Okay, Ollie. I'll see if Mings can talk you out of it. But if you want one, you can have one. Doesn't want one, fine. In terms of transfers, it's a difficult one because there's a lot of good players here, but there's actually starting to be a few aging players as well. Obviously, Ashley Young is going. Olsen is our oldest player, and then we haven't got anyone over 30, which is good. But we've got three relatively key players. In fact, no, it is five relatively key players who are 29. So they're going to be turning 30 soon. So they are at their peak. They're not going to get any better necessarily. We do need to bear that in mind. Are any of them players I want to lose immediately? Not really. However, if someone came in for Danny Ings, I actually don't think I'd be against it because we do have Ollie Watkins who's been very good. He's younger and he's got a bit more potential. So I don't think I'd be against letting Danny Ings go if an offer came in for him. It doesn't mean I want to let him go, but it's something that's worth considering. And when you look at his value and his wages, oh my word, that'd be a lot of money. But because we've only got £18 million in the bank before any of the facility things that we've asked for, I want to raise as much money as possible before we go out and spend. So we have to look at this squad and we have to be really honest about the players that we need and the players that we don't. So Callum Chambers is someone I think his time at the club has come to an end. Worth 23 to 25 million. I don't think he's worth that. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near that for him. So I would consider letting him go. I would consider letting Leon Bailey go as well. Boubacar Kamara, I'd rather hang on to. He's young, he's talented, he's good in that midfield. He's done a good job for us this season. I'd rather hang on to him. But any players that have wanted next to their name, I would consider. I mean, again, I know I've just said it about Danny Ings. Ollie Watkins. Someone comes in with 50 to 60 million for him. I think I'd have to consider it. I'd rather not lose Emi Buendia, but if Chelsea come in with 75 million, it's going to be hard to turn down. We are going to have to be a little bit ruthless with this team. I think we are going to have to consider offers when they come in, because there are players here who are good, but they're not players that are irreplaceable, if I'm being completely honest with you. So I'm going to have a look through the transfer, what we want to do. I'm going to have a look through players we want to let go. John McGinn's another one, actually. I forgot to mention him. We're going to look through that. I'm going to see what players we want to move on. Players we definitely need, though. We definitely need a left back. 100%, because our left back is going. We definitely need a right back. Reason? Because our backup right back is going away from the club. He's moving out. I'd like to get Cole Palmer in. If we can't get Cole Palmer in, we will need another right midfielder. So that is something that is worth remembering. And then maybe a different striker, possibly, because again, we might be losing one of the other guys, but they're the main positions we need investments in. And if we lose John McGinn, if we get rid of him, probably need another player who can play as a playmaker. So maybe we need someone in the middle as well. And I'm considering letting Robin Olsen go and looking for a better backup goalkeeper. So maybe, just maybe, we need a keeper as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions that we need to try and fill. We haven't got a lot of money to do that, especially if we want to just pay things up front. I'd rather avoid trying to use any transfer installments, because as you can see, we've actually got the debt down, which is good, but there is still a lot of transfer debt at the club. I would very much like to try and reduce that amount of transfer debt rather than add to it. So I'm going to go forward. We'll see what we can do. See what players we're going to move on. We've also actually, while I think about it, we have got some loan players we're getting back as well, so we can move them on. Bertrand Traore, he's going to be gone. Courtney Hawes, likely going to be gone. Wesley Moraes, going to be gone. Keenan Davis, going to be gone. And then we'll have a look at some of the youngsters as well. We definitely need to move some of them on. We'll do what we can. Thinking about it as well, if Callum Chambers is going to go, need a defender as well. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to do, but not necessarily all of it is first team. Some of it can be backup on the bench as well. So we're going to go forward, see what we can do. And when we've got a bit of a plan, I'll come back and I'll let you know who's going to be leaving. Okay, there's a few transfer things that are currently in the middle of happening. The biggest one I want to show you is actually Cole Palmer might be joining us. We've just put an offer in to see whether we'd come in. We don't have to pay any money at all for him other than wages, and it would be until the end of next season, which is pretty fantastic. So hopefully he agrees to that. We've got a couple of players who are on the way out as well. Robin Olsen and Callum Chambers looking like they're out. Callum Chambers for up to 31 million, which is absolutely fantastic. And Robin Olsen for 6 million. Real Madrid came in with 5 million. We counter-offered for 6 million to all the other clubs. Sheffield United have actually beat Real Madrid to that. So Real Madrid have not counter-offered yet, which is quite interesting. But none of that is what I wanted to show you. What I want to show you is this. The owner of Aston Villa, Nassef Sawiris, apologies if I say that wrong, I might have said that wrong, is looking to step aside, allegedly, according to teamtalk.com. I don't know how true this is. I've had a takeover happen in my Coventry save, which took forever to do. It literally spanned 2 seasons. So I don't know whether this will actually end up happening. We also are trying to move John McGinn on. It is proving to be more difficult than I thought it would be. I would absolutely hang on to him if I thought his form would pick up, but it really hasn't. So I do want to try and move him on. But I mean, if Callum Chambers goes, Callum Chambers is on, what is he? It's like £40,000, £50,000 a week. We're getting up to 30 million for him in total. 22 of that is up front. We've currently got transfer retained revenue of 100%. That's really good going, and that means we'll have around £40 million to spend, where we can worry about the balance a lot less. So I'm looking forward to that. And if we can move on Robin Olsen as well, his wages are £49,000 a week. We get another 7 million in the bank, 6 million, whatever it is. That works pretty well. But that makes me a little bit happier. But yeah, if it's a tycoon, I'll be delighted. But yeah, somehow I doubt that. Literally one button click later and Cole Palmer is here for the next season. We're going to confirm it. I am delighted with how he has done for us. He has been pretty spectacular. I don't really want to see him for them. I want to see him for us. You can just see the goals and assists dotted about the place. He's looked very good. It's a lot of 7s. There's a few 6s in there. There's an 8 in the final game of the season against Southampton. But, I mean, you can just see the impact he's had this season since he joined us. He has been very, very good. First games are around here. It took a little while to get going. And then he has been involved in a lot of goals since he has kicked on. He had a bit of a barren spell here, but still played okay in those 2 games. So, Very, very happy to have him. He's going to be playing on that right-hand side. I doubt anyone's going to usurp him. He is now only 4-star potential, but that's because he's just growing into the team. And I think as well, the rest of the team has leveled up around him, so his potential is obviously going to look less because of that. So very happy with that. No news on any other transfers. What I'll probably do is I'll wait until the 1st of July and then we'll round up everything when we get to there, because you get everything rounded up in one go. But this one I'm very excited that we've got, and there's no future fee on him, so if he does end up being really, really good, we might just try and throw a fee in there if we've got the money for him. But at the moment, very, very happy with that piece of business. 1st of July has arrived. It is the day we find out all of the transfers, or I reveal all the transfers to you guys. But before that, it does seem that hitting the new season has reset the beginning of last season, which obviously had all of the transfers in game from the last season, and also all of the transfers that had been made to kind of balance things out. So like Coutinho's no longer on here for £142 million. In fact, none of the transfers that were made before any of the deals I made are on here at all. So we start with Ashley Young. So it has very much balanced itself out, and there are deals on here that do not count. So really, there's only 2 deals on here that count for this season. But as you can see, it has all balanced out. But there are players on here as well that we have sold, so we do need to mention those. So, starting off with players that we've sold, we're going to look at Callum Chambers first. We did move Callum Chambers on. He wasn't going to play for us. He wasn't going to play for us at all. It was getting used less and less towards the end of the season. It was literally a last resort. £31 million, 22 million of that up front, 9 million of that on instalments. Thinking about trying to help out the financial situation, low debts and things like that, trying to think of how to solve that. Keenan Davis was then next, £7.5 million for a player of Keenan Davis's ability. I think that's an absolute steal that we got that amount for him. Apparently he's worth up to £17.5 million, but that is because he signed a new contract and he had a decent season over at Watford, so fair play to him, but I consider that to be a ridiculous amount of money. Courtney Hawes as well, ridiculous amount of money I think for him. Apparently he's worth up to £20 million. I want to say with both of these guys as well, Courtney Hawes, we started at about £6.5 million. Keenan Davis started at about £4.5. We got those deals up by continuously offering him back out and causing a couple of bidding wars. So, very proud of getting that amount of money for both those players. Jed Steer has finally gone, £400,000. He's gone to Derby County. Fine. Cameron Archer's out on loan. Fine. And then the other ones are all just youth players. There's a couple more on the other page as well. We've got straight to those actually. All of them young players except for one, which is Robin Olsen. He's gone to Real Madrid of all places for £6.5 million. So, all of those deals done. There's still a couple that I want to do. There's still a couple of things happening in the background. Let's focus on the transfers in, shall we? Transfer in number 1, Pablo Maffeo. We've brought him in for £16.5 million. All of these transfers, by the way, no instalments. All money up front. No extra transfer debt being added. Beautiful. Very happy with myself on that one, because normally, I'll be honest, I'm a bit of a fiend when it comes to instalments. But brought in Maffeo from Mallorca. He's going to be a decent fallback for us. He's very similar to Matty Cash. He's a little bit younger. He'll do a job for us. I'm very happy with him. Speaking of very happy, Vitinha. Oh, I'm very happy we got this guy in. And also, I think for the quality he is, £20 million. That is a bargain. It was less than he was on the transfer list for. He was transfer listed. He wanted to leave the club, and we have signed him. And considering he's worth up to £50 million, I think that's fantastic. Now, we might have had to include a release clause. I can't actually remember. If I have a quick nose in here, is there a release clause in here? Do you know what? There's not. There's not. I'm very happy with that. Even more so now. I'm sure someone had a release clause. It might have been Maffeo. Is it Maffeo? It's not even Maffeo. I might be talking absolute nonsense. But we've signed those two guys first of all. Very happy with those two. So £36 million, £36.5 million on two players who are definitely going to improve the team. Very happy with that. We then went and spent £8 million on Nick Pope. Now, we needed a backup goalkeeper because the Robin Olsen deal had been in the offing for a long time. The reason I went for Nick Pope is because it was, I mean, look at the amount of money he's worth now. £22 million. We got him in on £25,000 a week as a cup goalkeeper from Newcastle, where he was their first choice. Yeah, ignore the fact he conceded 66 and 31, but they did get relegated. So it meant he was there and he was available. So we brought him in, and I'm very happy with that. Frederick Bjorkan is our new left back. He's the next player we brought in. £8 million. Nothing to do with me, this one. This was our director of football, and I've got it set up that our director of football will make offers for players, and then we will do the contract negotiations, and at that point we can decide whether we want the player or not. And this guy looks alright. I just thought, as a backup left back, okay, is he going to set the world on fire? No. Lucas Digne's 28 years old. By the time we're ready to move Digne on, if we are, because we might end up keeping him, he might end up being good for long enough, this guy will be a good enough backup for us for quite some time. He's coming as a squad player. He'll do a job for us. Very happy with him. And then there's this guy as well, who I haven't looked at yet. Alvaro Carrillo. He's coming injured, which is a bit frustrating, but we signed him in January. He's a League One player, but he's got a decent amount of potential. He's worth up to £28 million. He's a Real Madrid youngster who was running out of contract, and we got him in for absolutely nothing from what I can remember. I'm pretty sure it was nothing. It is indeed. So if he grows, great. If he doesn't, we should be able to make we will make a profit on him because we're not going to sell him for nothing. But he already looks like he's got some decent ability already. 1.5 star. I actually think he looks better than that. He's 5'11", his passing's 13, his vision's 13. I might try and see if we can turn him into a defensive midfielder because I think he's 20 years old. He's not going to grow much more. Let's see whether we can do that, actually. But those are the transfers. I am very happy. So, although it says we've spent 16 million and made 6.5, remember, there's £36.5 million here that's going to be included in that. So, what's that? 46, £52.5 million. On this side, we've got... What have we got? We've got 31, we've got 38.5, 48.5, 49, 52. Call it 52.5. So 52.5, so 60 here. We've actually made a transfer profit a little bit, if I can make that add up in my head. I'm pretty sure we have. I'm pretty proud of that. And again, as I mentioned, no added debt or anything like that. So we've got a bit of net debt. I don't really know where that's come from because that's gone up, but the transfer debt has come down. We've not added any more to that, which I've repeated it a few times. I'm so proud of the fact that we've done that. Yeah, the money here doesn't look particularly great, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. One thing we do have to do still is bring in a central defender, and that central defender has changed forms a couple of times while we've been looking. There's currently no one on this list because we've had a couple of offers turned down. We were looking at Anel Amadozic. He was going to be the player I want to bring in. He might still be, but the club that he plays for, I think, Sheffield United. Let's have a quick look, see if we can find him. That's not how you spell his name, Stu. There we go. Finally got him. It's a lot of money. We don't have that much money in the bank at the moment, so if we can get the funds to sign him, I would like to make him the central defender. There are a few other players we've got scouted on the shortlist. Well, there's quite a few, actually, to be fair. We've looked at Omar Saleh. We're tempted to bring him in, but he doesn't like big games. Jean-Claire Todibo, someone I'm also interested in, but again, that amount of money, it's a lot of money. He's dubious as well. He isn't wanted by anyone, though, so I am tempted to try and bring him in just because no one else wants him at the moment. Good in the air, though. He's a good defender. He could be a very good signing, actually. I'm very, very tempted. But there's a bunch of players on this list who I've looked at already, and I still haven't fully made a decision on who it's going to be. I mean, really, we need to clear some players out on this list, actually, because there is a lot of them. But we just need someone to come in as that fourth choice central defender just to kind of shore things up, and then I'll be very, very happy. Now, players who have not left yet. Player number one who hasn't left is John Mcginn. We did actually put him on the transfer list in the end. There's been a couple of offers in for him, but trying to actually get him to agree to leave has been a bit of a challenge. Now, I have actually thrown him into the under-19s, and the under-18s, sorry. Thinking I'm at Parma still. He's in the under-18s. I'm going to keep doing that. Under-18s. We'll try to do that to make him unhappy, so he just leaves. Now, apparently Brentford are interested in him, so we are going to just throw out an offer for him, just see whether he'll leave. But there is one offer that's already been in for him that he's turned down, which is really frustrating. The other player who we're trying to shift out is Bertrand Traore. We've had one offer in so far for him, and, well, he wasn't a very good offer, to be honest with you. We're going to put another offer in because we consider Lille is in for him. Then the other player we're trying to move on is Wesley Moraes. Wesley looks like he's on the way out. Already agreed a deal with someone. We're just waiting to... In fact, there's more. Is there more bids? Did I miss those? Did I miss those? I know, we counter-offered. So we counter-offered with all of those teams. So £4.9 million. I'll be happy to let him go for that. We're just going to wait and see whether we can get any offers in for Bertrand Traore and John Mcginn. Get those guys in. We've got more money to spend on the central defender. But again, I'm not looking necessarily to spend all of the transfer budget because I don't want to spend all the money that the club have. As you can see right now, there's a lot of money more in the transfer budget, which is normal. We can balance that out by putting more money into the wage budget, but I don't really want to do that right now. So we just need to wait and see whether we get these offers in. It doesn't look like it's happened immediately, which was always a bit of a concern. But hopefully we will get some players on the move and just make a little bit more money so we can spend it on a defender. I would love to sell someone like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We don't really have a space for him in the team at the moment. But at the moment, I'm quite happy with the squad that we've got. At the moment, this is kind of a bit of a hybrid between the first team and the second team. Kamara and Vitinha are the two that I'm looking at. I mean, obviously Sander Berge comes in there as well. Kamara, however, not necessarily happy. We've had to agree that if someone comes in for £64 million for him, that he can go. Because he wants to go to Tottenham. Tottenham made an offer for him. We turned it down. West Ham and Wolves are there as well. We're waiting to see if anyone comes in with another offer. I would like to not lose him because he was pretty decent for us last year. Had a 6.94 rating. Didn't have any goals or assists in contributions for anything. But still looked the business to me when we needed him. And he and Sander Berge are a perfect pair to rotate through. So if we lose Kamara, it does open the door with a couple of players that we were looking at in the summer. But I would rather hang on to him. So we'll see what happens there. But unless any more transfer business happens, we're going to go through to the start of the season. No, we're going to go through to the Community Shield. Because I keep forgetting, we've got the Community Shield in this episode because we won the FA Cup. So we're going to go through to the Community Shield. But if any more transfer business happens, I'll stop along the way. I'll show you. And then we'll get to the Community Shield. But so far, window's gone really well. It is time for the Community Shield. In terms of transfer business, other than what you already know about, there is one more deal that is going to be happening. I'm just clicking on Paulo Maffeo just to get to it. We finally got a centre-back on the way in. He's not arrived yet, but it's Christopher Ayer. Now, we have been chasing this man for a long time, but it is a work permit decision. The reason it's been such a challenge is because it's a deal that involves John Mcginn going in the other direction. We're going to be spending about £20 million. In fact, I think it says there, £22 million plus John Mcginn. It's the only way we could get John Mcginn out the door. We weren't going to be using him, so he is going to be going in the other direction. Brentford were the only club that were realistically interested in him after we had the offer earlier in the window that was turned down by John Mcginn. So it just seemed like the way to do it. We're going to be saving some wages on the deal as well. I'm very happy with that. He'll come in and he'll be a very, very good central defender for a 6'5". He's got a decent bit of pace to him as well. Good jumping reach, good header. I've used him before. I used him in FM21, funnily enough, with Aston Villa. I use him as the holding midfielder, so if we need to switch to a system with a holding midfielder, we know we've got a backup one of those as well. Duje Kaletakar is someone we were bringing in as a backup just in case this deal didn't work. It has worked. We did have one point when Newcastle offered £15 million for John Mcginn out of nowhere after the Ayer deal was almost completely arranged. So it was a bit of a difficult one to decide what to do. We decided to get rid of the Newcastle deal, stick with the Ayer deal. It looks to have paid off. We're just waiting for a work permit. There's also this guy, Jens Petter Haag. I don't know what's going on here, but we've offered 0 and it got accepted. And the only reason we did it doesn't show it anymore, but there were other clubs in fact, it was these two clubs. Both of those clubs there offered 0 for him and had it accepted as well. I don't really know why, but he looks like a half-decent player at 22 years old. He looks like he could do a job, so we're going to bring him in. We're going to send him out on loan, probably. We've already said that to him, so we'll see what happens. Maybe we develop him and then we just sell him on for as much money as we can. Maybe he becomes part of the team. I don't know. But I'm thinking we'll send him on loan for half the season and bring him back. And then we'll see whether we can use him. But he looked good enough to be part of the team already. But it's a bit of a random one. But none of that matters because Oh, God, that's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. It's time for the Community Shield against Liverpool, and this is the 11 we're going to be using to hopefully bring our second trophy of the save home. It's Martinez in goal, Maffeo, Konsa, Carlos, Digne in defence, Vitinha and Berge in the midfield with Parma, Buendia and Coutinho supporting Watkins up front. Couple of issues. Issue number one, I've got all of the squads on for some reason. Issue number one, Douglas Luiz currently out injured up to, well, nearly 2 weeks. He's coming back, but he's missed a good chunk of pre-season as a result of that injury. And Danny Ings is on his way back. He's got 10 days to go at a maximum, but neither of them available in this game. So the bench is not too bad, to be fair, because we've only got 7 places. But if we had the full bench, like we had 9 or 12 places, it would be difficult, as you can see. We've got Louis Barry, Kerr Smith, and Alvaro Carrillo kind of filling those gaps in, should we have needed it, which we don't. So we're going to go in and see how this works. New boys, Maffeo and Vitinha, we're going to see what they've got. Hopefully they've got enough to justify their transfer fees. Go PARMA obviously returning as well. Let's just see what happens, shall we? At the end of the day, it's the most important trophy in football. Let's try and win it, shall we? Let's go. Here we go then, the most important trophy in world football, the Community Shield. It is Liverpool versus Aston Villa legally. Hang on. I've just thought... Apologies. I just had a massive kind of weird thing. I was convinced Manchester City should have been the team in this Community Shield. For some reason, I thought they were in the Premier League. No, they didn't. Liverpool won it. I have double checked. That was a proper brain meltdown. That was. Oh, goodness me. We'll continue the game, shall we? Sorry for the interruption. Manchester City did not win the Premier League. Liverpool did. That is why we're playing them. Oh, God. Well, we're playing them in the Community Shield. Manchester City beat them in the FA Cup. So they had a really bad season, actually, didn't they? And Watkins nearly giving Kelleher a really bad start to the game. See, I'm glad the lads aren't distracted the way that I am. I'm very distracted at the moment. I was convinced Man City won it for some reason. And I'm sure I've already said in this video that Manchester City didn't win it. Or that Liverpool did win it because they won it on the final day. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What just happened there? Okay. So the lads are obviously very confused because I don't really understand how that goal could have happened. Let's watch that again, shall we? Because I'm not entirely sure what happens here. Robertson whips it in. Konate with a good header. Hits the crossbar. I don't know what happens there. Konate hits... the ball's hit into him by Konsa, I think. And Martinez just doesn't know what to do. And it ends up being 1-0 to Liverpool. We're going to motivate the team by encouraging them, hopefully. Need to step things up a little bit. Again... I joke about it being the most important trophy in world football. It doesn't really matter if we lose this, let's be honest with you. We weren't expecting to win the FA Cup against Manchester City. I wouldn't be expecting to win a game against Liverpool. Certainly, even with the players we've brought in, I think we have improved the team. But I would not turn around and say that we're title contenders in any way, shape or form. Having said that, Diego Carlos has other ideas and he's decided he wanted to equalise. Good effort, Diego. Thank you for proving me wrong. We can compete with this Liverpool team, apparently. It is a textbook corner from Digne, near post header. Diego Carlos is in there. Of course, we'll have Christopher Ayer fighting in there as well when his work permit goes through. So all 6 foot, 4 or 5 of him. Great in the air, good jumping reach, good heading. All set pieces are going to be fun when he's in. Oh, big lad at the near post. Happy days. Right, Virgil gets it out to Konate. Konate now looking for options. Gets to Alexander-Arnold. Into Thiago. Thiago now looking for options. I do... need to say, actually, the season's been a bit of a weird one so far because this is normally the game the week before the start of the season. We've got another week before the start of the season in between this game and the first Premier League game, so I've got a couple more friendlies left. I don't really understand what's happened. I don't know whether it's because the game has got it as a World Cup year, and it is a World Cup year, obviously. Although we had the new transfers and the leagues updated for last year, it was still in the year 21 to 22. This is now the year 22 to 23. For me, it's just... put them ahead while I'm talking. So I don't know whether that's got something to do with it. I imagine it probably does have a lot to do with it. It's the only thing that makes sense to me is that it's just something to do with that. I don't really understand why, but it is what it is. We'll just deal with it as we need to. But we go in half-time, 2-1 down. Do you know what? In all seriousness, that's not bad. That's really not bad. This Liverpool team definitely have shown so far in this save that they are one of the better teams in football, kind of like in real life, actually. Right, anything we can do? Well, Wendy is injured, so that's something we can do. Or do you know what? Actually, let's give the youngster a chance. Let's give Jacob Ramsey a chance. So we're going to bring him on. Cole Palmer's not had the best game. I feel like it's probably a bit harsh to take him off, but we are going to take him off. We'll bring Leon Bailey on, and we'll leave things at that. Martez hasn't had a good game either, but we're not going to sub him off just yet. We're not quite reached the points that we did in the Twitch save with Aston Villa in 2021. With FM22, sorry. Not quite reached that point where we're just going to bin him off after a poor performance, but I've got my eye on him. I've very much got my eye on him. We're going to demand a bit more. We know we've got more in us. We know that we can get another goal against this Liverpool team. We've done it once. We know we can do it again. And they nearly score again. Now, all the momentum at the moment with Liverpool. Again, I joke about it being the biggest trophy in football. It's one of them. If we lose, it is not the end of the world. It's fine. When we've got 2 friendlies to play against teams that we should be beating, like local teams, before we have to play any Premier League opposition. Right, I was going to pause, but actually we've got a highlight. Konsa with the throw. Tries to get the ball into Bailey. And it's probably not a good idea that Ezri Konsa is the throw-in taker because I've not updated my set-piece instructions. That's a bit silly, Stu. Probably should have thought about that. Firmino now, looking for options. Gets it into Jones. Curtis Jones gets it back to Robertson. Robertson looking for options. Into Fabinho. Back to Virgil. Virgil to Thiago. Back to Fabinho. Back to Virgil. They're just passing it around for fun here. We know how this usually ends. It usually ends with a goal. And they're just going to pass it all around us to do it, aren't they? It's going to be a little bit painful. It already hurts. It already hurts. Just do it. Yeah, there we go. Thanks, Mo. Oh, well. We did finish third last season, but if we had any illusions of the golfing class, that goal exemplified it. Martinez is coming off. Nick Pope's coming on. I don't think we've got any more substitutions. Oh, no, we do, actually. We've got plenty of substitutions. Right. Well, Maffeo's going to come off because he's in danger of throwing a wobbly. Jeremy Bogger's going to come on, and that'll do for the substitutions. I mean, there's not much else we can do at this point. We've made all our subs. We've been tactically rigid. We've kind of gone with what we know, and it hasn't really paid off. We're going to just ask the lads to fire up in the last few minutes, maybe get one more goal, make it 3-2, save a bit of face. I mean, we've offered nothing in attack in this half. Liverpool can do that to you, though, and it is Liverpool's trophy. The most important trophy in world football, Community Shield, goes to Liverpool. Congratulations, boys. Enjoy that round disc of silver. Hopefully, it is the only trophy you win this season. I mean, that's not Jurgen Klopp. That's not Jurgen Klopp at all. Who's the Liverpool manager? Is that Jurgen Klopp? That's not Jurgen Klopp either. Who's the Liverpool? I don't know who the Liverpool manager is. I mean, I need to find that out now. That's got me thoroughly stumped. That was not Jurgen Klopp. Is that meant to be the manager there in the tracksuit? Looks nothing like Jurgen Klopp. Yes, it is. I mean, it might be. Huh. Well, we lost. It's Jurgen. Jurgen Klopp's let himself go a bit, hasn't he? My goodness. Right. Well, that's that. Emi Buendia's injured for 3 days. That's nothing. That's absolutely fine. Right. We are going to be back, hopefully, with the confirmed signing of Christopher Ajer for the games against Sheffield United and Leicester. 2 nice games to open the season. Well, I'll say that. You watch, probably lose both of them now. But hopefully 2 nice games to open the season with Sheffield United, of course. They got promoted last season, I do believe. Let's just double check that. I want to make sure I'm getting my facts right. Yes, they did. They went up as champions. So they're going to have the promotion bounce. We do need to be careful of that. But I think we've got enough about us. We've got enough about us in that 11 there, even though they couldn't quite get past Liverpool. I think we've got enough in that team, in that bench, in the players that we're going to bring in as well. And then even when we've got Christopher Ajer and Hagen, might look for 1 or 2 free loans or cheap loans that we can bring in just to add a little bit more depth to this squad. But I think we're on to a winner this season. I think we've got enough about us to finish in that top 4 again and hopefully get out of the group in the Champions League. If we don't get out of the group in the Champions League, it's not the end of the world. I'd like to do it. One thing I definitely want to do, though, if we do get knocked out, let's at least finish 3rd and have a run in the Europa League. That sounds like a plan to me. Before we go as well, just a quick update of the finances. Net debt down to £44 million. Transfer debt down to 80. We've done a good job this season. Again, not a single penny has been spent on the Never Never. Not a single penny has been sent in instalments. All of the money we have spent has been money we have got. And as a result of that, the projection is looking terrible. Well, let's just not look at that screen. Let's just pretend that doesn't exist. Anyway, I will see you guys at the next game, which is going to be Sheffield United to open the Premier League season. Thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed again, please do leave a like on the video for me. And subscribe to the channel so you never miss any lovely FM content from yours truly. I've been Stubo, you guys have been awesome, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.